The word church creates diverse meanings and impressions to many, but to us, our church is a place where winners are made and released to fulfill their God-given purpose and destiny. The Redeemed Christian Church of God, the King's Palace, is a place where simple men and women are raised to become world changers. A place where visions are turned into missions. To us, church is a breathing ground for harvesters. Please come with me and experience the faith that keeps us together. Come find out why you need to join this chariot today.
Mission is not just the heart cry of the Father, it's indeed His heartbeat. Every hour, every minute, and every second, the eyes of the Lord run to and from the earth, looking for willing vessels who will refuse to hang their sickle, but will determine to ride fast into the harvest field with all the willingness and joy to bring in a great harvest of souls.
This is the same passion that drives the commitment of our church, the Redeemed Christian Church of God, the King's Palace, for mission. Mission is at the center of all we do. It is a deliberate focus for all ages, and it is systematically inscribed into all the diverse outreach arm of the church. Since the inception of our parish, the Redeemed Christian Church of God, the King's Palace, here in Katy, Texas, we have deliberately embarked on strategic mission, covering both foreign mission and at home.
In the last years, our foreign missions have been to Kachia, Nigeria in 2010, Zambia in 2012, Markudi, Nigeria in 2013, Maypen, Jamaica in 2014, Farmington, New Mexico in 2015, Zaria, Nigeria in 2015, Gabon in 2016 and 2017, St. Lucia in the Caribbean.
Jesus said in John chapter 9 verse 4 that I must work the work of him that sent me while it is day. The night comes when no man can work. What are you still waiting for? Get up, move. Let's do the work of the Master today.
If you have experienced the gospel, there's no way that you can look at a world that is headed to hell and not care, not move, and not offer your life and say, God, here am I, send me, send me.
Arise and become part of this great army. Gird your loins and join us to fulfill the heart cry of the Father together. Jesus is Lord. Are you an African or an African American? Are you a friend to an African? Or are you married to an African? The continent of Africa never ceases to make major highlights in media. Africa will always be in the news for countless reasons. As part of their 14th anniversary celebration, the Redeemed Christian Church of God, the King's Palace, Katy, Texas, invites you to a special virtual talk show titled Africa of My Dreams with Mrs. ADEOLA FAYEHUN. a Nigerian journalist who specializes in discussing current geopolitical, social, and economic issues that affect the daily lives of Africans living on the continent. She is very well known for her weekly satire show, Keeping It Real with ADEOLA, on her YouTube channel, with over 400,000 subscribers and growing.
How do I operate this thing? How do I... we're live. We're live. Why didn't you tell me something? What's up, people? It's your girl, ADEOLA. I am so excited to be with you for your anniversary this year. Happy anniversary, guys. So I'll be with you from the 3rd to the 5th of July, and I'll be one of the speakers. Thank you so much for having me, by the way. You know, when Daddy said come, who am I to say no? So you understand? So I'll be one of the speakers. I have no idea what I'll talk about. Further, you must help your girl, and I look forward to meeting you guys live and direct. So if you can make it to this event, that will be wonderful. You want to come to New York? Seriously, do you have money for your flights? Of course you don't. You want free flights to Texas? No, be so. If you don't have money, you're not even invited, my brother. It's okay, don't worry. It's called trying to get free flights to Texas. Don't mind him. All right, I'll see you guys very soon. Bye. Bye. Did you not hear me say bye twice? Why are you still rolling the camera? Fuck.
This virtual talk show will also include the special attraction, Best Answer Challenge, featuring Kahoot games with trivia on Africa. The first game will be for TKP members representing the different houses, and the second game will be open to non-TKP members. First prize is $500, second prize is $300, and third prize is $200. Date is July 4th, 2020, and time is 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Join us on our YouTube channel at King's Palace TV and via Facebook.
How do I operate this thing? How do I... we're live. We're live. Why didn't you tell me something? What's up, people? It's your girl, ADEOLA. I am so excited to be with you for your anniversary this year. Happy anniversary, guys. So I'll be with you from the 3rd to the 5th of July, and I'll be one of the speakers. Thank you so much for having me, by the way. You know, when Daddy said come, who am I to say no? So you understand? So I'll be one of the speakers. I have no idea what I'll talk about. Further, you must help your girl, and I look forward to meeting you guys live and direct. So if you can make it to this event, that will be wonderful. You want to come to New York? Seriously, do you have money for your flights? Of course you don't. You want free flights to Texas? No, be so. If you don't have money, you're not even invited, my brother. It's okay, don't worry. It's called trying to get free flights to Texas. Don't mind him. All right, I'll see you guys very soon. Bye. Bye. Did you not hear me say bye twice? Why are you still rolling the camera? I'm not doing it.
The word church creates diverse meanings and impressions to many, but to us, our church is a place where winners are made and released to fulfill their God's-given purpose and destiny. The Redeemed Christian Church of God, the King's Palace, is a place where simple men and women are raised to become world changers. A place where visions are turned into missions. To us, church is a breathing ground for harvesters. Please come with me and experience the faith that keeps us together. Come find out why you need to join this chariot today.
Mission is not just the heart cry of the Father, It's indeed His heartbeat. Every hour, every minute, and every second, the eyes of the Lord run to and from the earth, looking for willing vessels who will refuse to hang their sickle, but will determine to ride fast into the harvest field with all the willingness and joy to bring in a great harvest of souls.
This is the same passion that drives the commitment of our church, the Redeemed Christian Church of God, the King's Palace, for mission. Mission is at the center of all we do. It is a deliberate focus for all ages, and it is systematically inscribed into all the diverse outreach arm of the church. Since the inception of our parish, the Redeemed Christian Church of God, the King's Palace, here in Katy, Texas, we have deliberately embarked on strategic mission, covering both foreign mission and at home.
In the last years, our foreign missions have been to Kachia, Nigeria in 2010, Zambia in 2012, Markudi, Nigeria in 2013, Maypen, Jamaica in 2014, Farmington, New Mexico in 2015, Zaria, Nigeria in 2015, Gabon in 2016 and 2017, St. Lucia in the Caribbean.
Jesus said in John chapter 9 verse 4 that I must work the work of him that sent me while it is day. The night comes when no man can work. What are you still waiting for? Get up, move. Let's do the work of the Master together.
If you have experienced the gospel, there's no way that you can look at a world that is headed to hell and not care, not move, and not offer your life and say, God, here am I, send me.
Arise and become part of this great army. Gird your loins and join us to fulfill the heart cry of the Father together. Jesus is Lord. Are you an African or an African American? Are you a friend to an African? Or are you married to an African? The continent of Africa never ceases to make major highlights in media. Africa will always be in the news for countless reasons. As part of their 14th anniversary celebration, the Redeemed Christian Church of God, the King's Palace, Katy, Texas, invites you to a special virtual talk show titled Africa of My Dreams with Mrs. ADEOLA FAYEHUN, a Nigerian journalist who specializes in discussing current geopolitical, social, and economic issues that affect the daily lives of Africans living on the continent. She is very well known for her weekly satire show, Keeping It Real with ADEOLA, on her YouTube channel with over 400,000 subscribers and growing.
How do I operate this thing? How do I... we're live. Oh, we're live. Why didn't you tell me something? What's up, people? It's your girl, ADEOLA. I am so excited to be with you for your anniversary this year. Happy anniversary, guys. So I'll be with you from the 3rd to the 5th of July, and I'll be one of the speakers. Thank you so much for having me, by the way. You know, when Daddy said come, who am I to say no? So you understand? So I'll be one of the speakers. I have no idea what I'll talk about. Further, you must help your girl, and I look forward to meeting you guys live and direct. So if you can make it to this event, that will be wonderful. You want to come to New York? Seriously, do you have money for your flights? Of course you don't. You want free flights to Texas? No, be so. If you don't have money, you're not even invited, my brother. It's okay, don't worry. It's good. Trying to get free flights to Texas. Don't mind him. All right, I'll see you guys very soon. Bye. Bye. Did you not hear me say bye twice? Why are you still rolling the camera?
This virtual talk show will also include the special attraction Best Answer Challenge, featuring Kahoot games with trivia on Africa. The first game will be for TKP members representing the different houses, and the second game will be open to non-TKP members. First prize is $500, second prize is $300, and third prize is $200. Date is July 4th, 2020, and time is 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Join us on our YouTube channel at King's Palace TV and via Facebook.
How do I operate? How do I... We're live. Oh, we're live. Why didn't you tell me something? What's up, people? It's your girl, ADEOLA. I am so excited to be with you for your anniversary this year. Happy anniversary, guys. So I'll be with you from the 3rd till the 5th of July, and I'll be one of the speakers. Thank you so much for having me, by the way. You know, when Daddy said come, who am I to say no? So you understand? So I'll be one of the speakers. I have no idea what I'll talk about. Father, you must to help your girl, and I look forward to meeting you guys live and direct. So if you can make it to this event, that will be wonderful. You want to come to Houston? Seriously, do you have money for your flights? Of course you don't. You want free flights to Texas? No, be so. If you don't have money, you're not even invited, my brother. It's okay, don't worry. It's good though. Trying to get free flights to Texas. Don't mind him. Alright, I'll see you guys very soon. Bye. Bye. Did you not hear me say bye twice? Why are you still holding the camera? Come on,
The word church creates diverse meanings and impressions to many, but to us, our church is a place where winners are made and released to fulfill their God's-given purpose and destiny. The Redeemed Christian Church of God, the King's Palace, is a place where simple men and women are raised to become world changers. A place where visions are turned into missions. To us, church is a breathing ground for harvesters. Please come with me and experience the faith that keeps us together. Come find out why you need to join this chariot today.
Mission is not just the heart cry of the Father, it's indeed His heartbeat. Every hour, every minute, and every second, the eyes of the Lord run to and from the earth, looking for willing vessels who will refuse to hang their sickle, but will determine to ride fast into the harvest field with all the willingness and joy to bring in a great harvest of souls.
This is the same passion that drives the commitment of our church, the Redeemed Christian Church of God, the King's Palace, for mission. Mission is at the center of all we do. It is a deliberate focus for all ages, and it is systematically inscribed into all the diverse outreach arm of the church. Since the inception of our parish, the Redeemed Christian Church of God, the King's Palace, here in Katy, Texas, we have deliberately embarked on strategic mission, covering both foreign mission and at home.
In the last years, our foreign missions have been to Kachia, Nigeria in 2010, Zambia in 2012, Markudi, Nigeria in 2013, Maypen, Jamaica in 2014, Farmington, New Mexico in 2015, Zaria, Nigeria in 2015, Gabon, in 2016 and 2017. St. Lucia in the Caribbean.
Jesus said in John chapter 9 verse 4 that I must work the work of him that sent me while it is day. The night comes when no man can work. What are you still waiting for? Get up, move. Let's do the work of the master today.
If you have experienced the gospel, there's no way that you can look at a world that is headed to hell and not care, not move, and not offer your life and say, God, here am I, send me.
Arise and become part of this great army. Gird your loins and join us to fulfill the heart cry of the Father together. Jesus is Lord. Are you an African or an African American? Are you a friend to an African? Or are you married to an African? The continent of Africa never ceases to make major highlights in media. Africa will always be in the news for countless reasons. As part of their 14th anniversary celebration, the Redeemed Christian Church of God, the King's Palace, Katy, Texas, invites you to a special virtual talk show titled Africa of My Dreams with Mrs. ADEOLA FAYEHUN, a Nigerian journalist who specializes in discussing current geopolitical, social, and economic issues that affect the daily lives of Africans living on the continent. She is very well known for her weekly satire show, Keeping It Real with ADEOLA, on her YouTube channel, with over 400,000 subscribers and growing.
How do I operate this thing? How do I... we're live. We're live. Why didn't you tell me something? What's up, people? It's your girl, ADEOLA. I am so excited to be with you for your anniversary this year. Happy anniversary, guys. So I'll be with you from the 3rd to the 5th of July, and I'll be one of the speakers. Thank you so much for having me, by the way. You know, when Daddy said come, who am I to say no? So you understand? So I'll be one of the speakers. I have no idea what I'll talk about. Father, you must help your girl, and I look forward to meeting you guys live and direct. So if you can make it to this event, that will be wonderful. You want to come to Houston? Seriously, do you have money for your flights? Of course you don't. You want free flights to Texas? No, be so. If you don't have money, you're not even invited, my brother. It's okay, don't worry. It's called trying to get free flight to Texas. Don't mind him. All right, I'll see you guys very soon. Bye. Bye. Did you not hear me say bye twice? Why are you still rolling the camera? Fuck. I'm gonna be new with you.
This virtual talk show will also include the special attraction, Best Answer Challenge, featuring Kahoot games with trivia on Africa. The first game will be for TKP members representing the different houses, and the second game will be open to non-TKP members. First prize is $500, second prize is $300, and third prize is $200. Date is July 4th, 2020, and time is 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Join us on our YouTube channel at King's Palace TV and via Facebook.
How do I operate this thing? How do I... we're live. We're live. Why didn't you tell me something? What's up, people? It's your girl, ADEOLA. I am so excited to be with you for your anniversary this year. Happy anniversary, guys. So I'll be with you from the 3rd to the 5th of July, and I'll be one of the speakers. Thank you so much for having me, by the way. You know, when Daddy said come, who am I to say no? So you understand? So I'll be one of the speakers. I have no idea what I'll talk about. Father, you must help your girl, and I look forward to meeting you guys live and direct. So if you can make it to this event, that will be wonderful. You want to come to Houston? Seriously, do you have money for your flights? Of course you don't. You want free flights to Texas? No, be so. If you don't have money, you're not even invited, my brother. It's okay, don't worry. It's called trying to get free flights to Texas. Don't mind him. All right, I'll see you guys very soon. Bye. Bye. Did you not hear me say bye twice? Why are you still rolling the camera? Fuck. I'm gonna do it.
The word church creates diverse meanings and impressions to many, but to us, Our church is a place where winners are made and released to fulfill their God-given purpose and destiny. The Redeemed Christian Church of God, the King's Palace, is a place where simple men and women are raised to become world changers. A place where visions are turned into missions. To us, church is a breathing ground for harvesters. Please come with me and experience the faith that keeps us together. Come find out why you need to join this chariot today.
Mission is not just the heart cry of the Father, it's indeed His heartbeat. Every hour, every minute, and every second, the eyes of the Lord run to and from the earth, looking for willing vessels who will refuse to hang their sickle, but will determine to ride fast into the harvest field with all the willingness and joy to bring in a great harvest of souls.
This is the same passion that drives the commitment of our church, the Redeemed Christian Church of God, the King's Palace, for mission. Mission is at the center of all we do. It is a deliberate focus for all ages, and it is systematically inscribed into all the diverse outreach arm of the church.
The word church.
I welcome you, viewers, to this July 4th edition of the 14th anniversary talk show of the King's Palace. My name is Jide Afolabi. I'm your anchor for the talk show this evening. I welcome especially those of you joining us online. And with me here in the studio, I have co-anchors with me that will make this job easy and interesting. On my right, I have ADEOLA Oniyide.
Hello, viewers.
And I have Pastor Ronke Adebeno, a co-anchor here as well.
Well, hello, everyone, and congratulations on the 14th anniversary. And if you're watching on YouTube or on Facebook, make sure you share and you start a watch party and invite all your friends. And guess what? We have a lot of prizes today to win. So make sure you stay tuned and don't leave this channel.
With us here in the studio, we have a special guest of honor that needs no introduction, and we have a clip on her. Stay tuned.
Are you an African or an African American? Are you a friend to an African? Or are you married to an African? The continent of Africa never ceases to make major highlights in media. Africa will always be in the news for countless reasons. As part of their 14th anniversary celebration, the Redeemed Christian Church of God, the King's Palace, Katy, Texas, invites you to a special virtual talk show titled Africa of My Dreams with Mrs. ADEOLA FAYEHUN, a Nigerian journalist who specializes in discussing current geopolitical, social, and economic issues that affect the daily lives of Africans living on the continent. She is very well known for her weekly satire show, Keeping It Real with ADEOLA, on her YouTube channel with over 400,000 subscribers and growing.
How do I operate this thing? How do I... we're live. We're live. Why didn't you tell me something? What's up, people? It's your girl, ADEOLA. I am so excited to be with you for your anniversary this year. Happy anniversary, guys. So I'll be with you from the 3rd to the 5th of July, and I'll be one of the speakers. Thank you so much for having me, by the way. You know, when Daddy said come, who am I to say no? So you understand? So I'll be one of the speakers. I have no idea what I'll talk about further. You must help your girl, and I look forward to meeting you guys live and direct. So if you can make it to this event, that will be wonderful. You want to come to Houston? Seriously, do you have money for your flights? Of course you don't. You want free flights to Texas? No, be so. If you don't have money, you're not invited, my brother. It's okay, don't worry. It's called trying to get free flights to Texas. Don't mind him. All right, I'll see you guys very soon. Bye. Bye. Did you not hear me say bye twice? Why are you still rolling the camera? Fuck.
This virtual talk show will also include the special attraction, Best Answer Challenge, featuring Kahoot games with trivia on Africa. The first game will be for TKP members representing the different houses, and the second game will be open to non-TKP members. First prize is $500, second prize is $300, and third prize is $200. Date is July 4th, 2020, and time is 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Join us on our YouTube channel at King's Palace TV and via Facebook.
Welcome, ADEOLA, to the King's Palace. It's really nice to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, it's really great to see you use humor and seriousness in the same breath. It's really a great talent. It's really nice to have you here. We have a lot to talk about here this evening, viewers. So let's go straight to my first question. So, ADEOLA, you've covered geopolitical, social-cultural issues, affecting the everyday life of Africans living on the continent of Africa, in diaspora. You've covered all these things widely. Can you just give us a sense of, from your viewpoint, the good, the bad, and the ugly? How will you characterize that for us?
So there's a lot of good in what I'm doing. I feel like people need to know more about Africa. Not just the news about hunger, starvation. There's a lot going on in Africa. There are so many good things happening in Africa. Africa is a really beautiful continent with so many countries with different culture, different foods, different way of life. I feel like as Nigerians, we don't travel enough within Africa. No offense, but a lot of us Nigerians, we think we are it, We're the giant of Africa, and we're the most populated country, so we don't explore what is happening right next to us. I never traveled to any other African country the whole time I was growing up in Nigeria until I came to the U.S. It was from the U.S. that I went to Kenya. It was from the U.S. that I went to Ghana. It was from the U.S. that I went to South Africa. I'm just trying to say that a lot of Nigerians don't travel, and we really need to work on that, because I went to Kenya in 2011, that's 9 years ago, and I was really shocked by the fact that they had stable electricity in Kenya. I was not hearing power generator or anywhere. That was really strange to me, because it wasn't what I knew back in Nigeria. They had stable electricity, they had stable water, and I'm like, there are so many countries that are doing better than us, so, we say we are everything, but a lot of African countries are doing really well. And of course, when I went to South Africa, it depends on what part of South Africa you go to, you would feel like you're in a Western country at some parts of South Africa, you know what I mean. So it was definitely eye-opening for me traveling. Africa is very rich. We have a lot of natural resources. We're blessed with manpower, 1.2 billion people, mostly young people. There's so many positive things that people don't know about Africa. But at the same time, I found out that we have more in common than our differences. And that is why I don't just talk about Nigeria, I talk about other African countries, because I want Nigerians to know what is happening next door. I want us to wake up and realize that we have more in common. And having more in common also includes some of the struggles that we face politically. I feel like a lot of issues that we're dealing with in Nigeria is very similar to what they're dealing with in Ghana, in so many parts of Africa. So we have similar challenges. Sometimes I wonder if African leaders just had a meeting and decided we're just going to make life difficult for these people on this side of the world. I don't know, maybe they talk amongst themselves, but just hearing some of the ridiculous things that happen in Africa, you think you have it bad, and then you hear about what some other president is doing, and you're like, even these people have it worse. So we have a lot of similarities, and we face similar challenges. But in terms of what I do, the good, the bad, the good is, one of the good things is getting to meet people that watch my show. Like, all I see is numbers. I don't see the people that are watching. So for me, whenever I have an opportunity like this to see real people, I'm like, oh my God, Mommy, you're watching, you know, so next time I'm shooting the show, I'm thinking about you. I'm like, Mommy in Texas, she's watching. Or Daddy, you're watching, you know. So for me to be able to put faces behind the numbers, now I'm meeting another ADEOLA, and now I know ADEOLA is watching my show, so I better make sure I check myself next time. So it's a huge privilege to get to meet people. It has given me the opportunity to meet a lot of people. At the same time, me hearing my opinion, because I don't just talk about the news, it has really opened me to a lot of criticism, if that makes sense. Like, you know, a lot of people love what I do, but a lot of people, they don't necessarily disagree with me, but maybe they disagree with something that I talked about, and so they will hate. They will hate on me for doing that. So it's like putting yourself out there. And if you decide to do something like this, you have to be strong and be willing to not let criticism stop you from what you're doing. So that's just some of the good and the bad.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well,
Awesome. Again, thank you so much for being with us, and we're so happy to have you. Now, based on, you know, some of the responses that you've given, we can all see that Africa is a continent that is in a huge dilemma right now, and there are a lot of unanswered questions. So the question is it as a result of bad leadership? Is it as a result of history, of slavery? Why is Africa struggling at this time?
I think it's a little bit of everything that you talked about. Definitely slavery has its own place. Colonization has its own place. There were so many kingdoms in Africa that were doing well before colonization. But I think our biggest problem has been lack of leadership. I think it's high time we stop blaming colonization or slavery. It's been how many years? We cannot continue to put all the blame on what has happened in the past, but we need to deal with what is happening right now, lack of true leadership. Now, the problem, a lot of people think the problem is with the head, but things have gotten really bad to the point where the problem is from the head to the toes. A lot of Nigerians will criticize the government, but if you look at what they are doing, where they are, and I have to point this out because our leaders come from amongst us. We don't do anything in terms of leadership training in Nigeria. Now, I'm speaking for Nigeria, not all of Africa. We don't groom leaders. We would appoint people that studied home economic. We make them finance minister. We would just appoint people that we know has nothing to do with can they do this job. And a lot of people, because they didn't really know what it means to be a leader before getting into politics, they just go in there with the wrong notion. They have no vision at all. In terms of what they are going there to do. Like, a lot of people don't know why they are in the position they are in. They just believe that now they've gotten rich. Now that they have a political appointment, they can build the house that they've always wanted to build. They can buy boats. They can have a house in Dubai, have a house. They have no vision at all. So we have a lot to do in terms of our leadership. But at the same time, I feel like people need to be groomed from when we're young. And the Nigerian society doesn't necessarily encourage young people. They tell us that we are the leaders of tomorrow, but those leaders refuse to leave. So how would we ever be leaders when there's no room, there's no vacancy, they have refused to leave? So, and if you look at the succession, like when we have leaders, someone may do well and then the next person comes in and just destroys everything that they've done. You're not a good leader until you've successfully groomed successors, if that makes sense. Like how you know a true leader is you should be able to replicate yourself. On my show, several times I would encourage people to start their own YouTube channels. I would encourage people to speak out where they are. I would encourage people, you can touch your life where you are, you don't have to be in politics. And for me, that whenever I'm no longer doing what I'm doing right now, that would be my joy, just seeing, even if it's one person that decided to live their best life, that decided to come out of their shell and be creative and take charge of their lives, but also touch other people's lives. It's not about the number of views that I get or the number of subscribers, but the implication, the impact it had in other people's lives. And I think that is what our leaders are missing. They don't know how to groom good leaders. They don't encourage young people to speak up. They said they passed the not too young to rule bill, but they're not leaving. They're not going anywhere. They're not giving us the opportunity. Sadly, if you give a lot of young people the opportunity to be in position of authority today in Nigeria, they will do worse. And I'm saying that because if you look at how some people are running their businesses, some people that are lecturers in Nigeria, they will sell handouts, they will fail a student, not because the student didn't do well, but because the student didn't buy their handout. There is corruption everywhere. So as much as we can talk about colonization, as much as we can talk about slavery, we really need to work on grooming leaders. And also the leaders that we have right now, they are not leaders, they are just people that are hungry for power and people that just want to steal money. We should call them embezzlers. They are not actual leaders. So we need good leaders. If we have good leadership, African countries would do well, regardless of colonization, regardless of slavery. And if our leaders can learn how to groom. Now, outside of Nigeria, you would notice there are so many African countries where the president will be there for decades. Why would somebody now want to leave? Because he did not groom leaders. So they are afraid that once they leave, that's it. And even in some African countries that are doing well, Rwanda is doing well in one area, in one side, but at the same time, the president doesn't want to leave until 2032. So there's a problem if you feel like you're the only one that can do something and you don't feel like someone else can do it. So we see that a lot in different parts of Africa. So I think bad leadership is the main problem that we have.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Phenomenal answer.
Mr. ADEOLA, you've heard about the problems we're currently facing in America with police brutality and the Black Lives Matter movement, and how it's viewed as racial injustice and racism in this country. My question to you is, do you believe there's any end in sight for racial discrimination, or do you believe it's only an African-American problem or an all-African problem?
It's really sad because I don't know if as human beings we will get to the point where, I think the moment we get to the point where everybody understands we're all equal, I think that is when Jesus will just come. You know what I mean? Or Jesus has already come. It's not just an African American thing. Someone that is racist, they don't care whether you're from Africa or you're African American or you're from Mexico or whatever, so long as you're not what they are. And you know, I've seen a lot of people say, oh, just follow the rules, you know, don't argue with police. I have seen people who did that and they still got killed. I've seen people who cooperated with the police, who raised their hands, who did everything. What's his name again? They told him to raise his hand, and he said that he has a wallet, he wanted to take it out, and I'm not remembering his name now. He was taking out his wallet, and they shot him and killed him. Right. So I'm just trying to say it's not just about following the rules and doing what is right. When someone is racist, they are racist. And we've also seen a lot of Africans that have been victims here. On my show, I talked about a guy from Guinea that was shot in New York 41 times. I've talked about the Nigerian guy that the police said he was walking funny on the road. They tackled him, they tasered him, and he died. There was a Nigerian guy that had mental problem, and his girlfriend was trying to get him to cooperate. She called for help. She called 911, thinking the ambulance would come. Police showed up because he wasn't in his right senses. They took him to the police station. He was struggling with them. In short, they killed him at the police station because they tortured him until he died. So it's not just about, playing by the rules. But what I wanted to also talk about is not, when you're here in the US, it's not limited to African Americans. If you're black, you're black. Some people, that is all they see, which is really unfortunate because there's actually only one human race. Just one. We just have different shades. That's why we all have the same color of blood. We're the same. It's just because we have more melanin, which is a blessing, amen, somebody. It protects black people from the sun, and also skin cancer and stuff like that. It's really hard for black people to get that because of our melanin. It's a blessing. And in a way, I feel like black people are more blessed than white people. No offense to my white friends. Y'all know how it is. We're just really blessed, And I think a lot of people just don't understand that. And when people don't understand something, they're scared. And a lot of people act out of fear. Now, because if you've seen some of the videos where the police officer shot, they will be screaming even as they start shooting, as if someone was attacking them. It's all out of fear. When people don't understand something, they're afraid of it. They're the ones with the gun and they're screaming as if the person is attacking them. Don't move, if you move. And it's like, but you're the one with the gun, And even some of them, they shot out of fear. But beyond the racism that you see here, I think a lot of us from Africa, we forget that we do the same thing back home. A lot of people are really racist in Nigeria. We call it tribalism. They say this is Hausa, this is Igbo. I've seen people talk about an accident scene, and they say, how many people died? Oh, just 4 people and 1 aboki. And I'm like, 4 people, 1 aboki. What is the aboki? Is the aboki not a human being? You know what I mean? As if the aboki was not a human being. And we do that with religion. We always have religious clashes. We used to have a lot of that in Jos. But beyond Jos, there are a lot of Muslims who believe that they don't want to have anything to do with Christians. But there are also a lot of Christians that if you're not a Christian, they believe you are doomed. They don't want to have anything to do with you. And then when you're a Christian, there is a category in Christianity. You have to be Jim. Do you know what is called Jim, brothers? Now, if you're not Jim, like really spiritual, we just say hi. We don't hang out because I don't think that sister is very serious spiritually. You need to be mindful. Make sure you work with really serious people. Like we have discriminations, and it's so funny. Like there are some Christians that if they see you with tattoo, they've written you off. Ooh, she's very worldly. She has tattoos, And we judge people a lot. The fact that we kill each other in Nigeria based on ethnic group is so stupid when you think about it. Nobody chose to be in the ethnic group that they are in. Nobody chose to be Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba, or whatever. It's an accident. You just found yourself. That is just how God made it. But we use that as a weapon. When I came to the US, that was when the first time I realized how stupid it is that we kill each other in Nigeria. And because once people get here, suddenly they are looking for any Nigerian. It doesn't even matter if you are Yoruba, if you are, I just want something familiar. I don't know if you've experienced that, but you become really close friends with people from different ethnic groups here. Because here, you're all black. Nobody cares whether you're Hausa or Igbo or Yoruba. And that's why I always encourage people to travel. When they travel outside their country, they see how life is elsewhere. They realize, you know what? Some things are really stupid. We need to stick together. We need to work together. And at the same time, when you see racism here, you realize how stupid it is when you go to other countries or when you see people who get along really well. Like when you see a mixed family and all that. Look at the beauty of black, white coming together and They give birth to all these beautiful Pekins, you know what I mean? So it's really stupid when you think about it, but yes, it's not just limited to African Americans. It also affects us Africans here, and we're still doing the same thing back home. Like a lot of people will preach about against racism here, but when they get home, they will only hire people from their ethnic group, and they will only let their children marry from, if their daughter brings a Hausa man, they'll be like, hey, Hausa lo fefe. You know what I mean? Like, you really want to marry a Hausa man? They don't even ask about the guy. They don't even give him a chance. They don't get to know him. They just automatically write it off. They are Christians though, spirit-filled, tongue-talking. But no, you can't even talk to me about that. There's no going back. So I think we all do that.
Well, thank you, ADEOLA. Still a lot more to talk about on Africa of our dream. So viewers, let's take a short break at this point. Please stay tuned.
Mission is not just the heart cry of the Father, it's indeed His heartbeat. Every hour, every minute, and every second, the eyes of the Lord run to and from the earth, looking for willing vessels who will refuse to hang their sickle, but will determine to ride fast into the harvest field with all the willingness and joy to bring in a great harvest of souls.
This is the same passion that drives the commitment of our church, the Redeemed Christian Church of God, the King's Palace, for mission. Mission is at the center of all we do. It is a deliberate focus for all ages, and it is systematically inscribed into all the diverse outreach arm of the church. Since the inception of our parish, the Redeemed Christian Church of God, the King's Palace, here in Katy, Texas, we have deliberately embarked on strategic mission, covering both foreign mission and at home.
In the last years, our foreign missions have been to Kachia, Nigeria in 2010, Zambia in 2012, Markudi, Nigeria in 2013, Maypen, Jamaica in 2014, Farmington, New Mexico in 2015, Zaria, Nigeria in 2015, Gabon in 2016 and 2017, St. Lucia in the Caribbean.
Jesus said in John chapter 9 verse 4 that I must work the work of him that sent me while it is day. The night comes when no man can work. What are you still waiting for? Get up, move. Let's do the work of the Master together.
If you have experienced the gospel, there's no way that you can look at a world that is headed to hell and not care, not move, and not offer your life and say, God, here am I, send me.
Arise and become part of this great army. Gird your loins and join us to fulfill the heart cry of the Father together. Jesus is Lord.
Welcome back, viewers, to the King's Palace Anniversary Talk Show, Africa of My Dream. Well, ADEOLA, I have one question for you. There are a lot of ugly stories, that come out, especially in the U.S. news and maybe even in Africa. Ugly stories about Africans living in the United States of America. It's, for the most part, maybe about Nigerians. Can you try to balance these stories of the African in diaspora from your viewpoint? Can you give us a balanced view of the stories of African in diaspora?
So honestly, I feel like whatever you look for, you will find. And when it comes to news, bad news sells faster than good news. People are more likely to share bad news because maybe they are shocked by, did you hear that this happened? You know, which is really unfortunate. I totally agree with you. When I moved to the US and I turned on the TV, I was saying that earlier today that the first thing I noticed was I wasn't seeing us, I wasn't seeing Africans on TV. And over time I realized the only times that we're on TV is when we've done something bad, when we've committed a crime. Then you will see us on TV and they will even say where we are from, you know, Nigerian or Ugandan or whatever. Or when we've done something exceptional. Like if an African was one that won the gold medal for the US or something, then you will see us in the news. But somehow they always forget to say where we're from at that particular time. They don't always say we are originally from Nigeria. They just call us Americans, you know what I mean? Like those other times too, they call us Americans, but they will say originally from Nigeria, you know? So, which is really bad. But, as you said, this needs to be balanced because there are Africans doing amazing things in this country. There are African scientists. There are Africans who are presidents of big colleges in this country. There are African researchers. There are African actors and actresses. There are African teachers. There's nothing you can think of. African doctors. In fact, there's a lot of African doctors and African nurses saving lives every single day in this country. And I try to do that on my show. I try to spotlight people that I find their stories inspiring. People like the African woman at NASA, like the African woman who is into cancer research in Chicago. I love to feature the stories of Africans, like the Nigerian lady that she was the valedictorian at the University of Toronto's med school, and she did really well to the point where the Prime Minister gave her a shout out on Twitter. I thought that's amazing, you know? So I like to spotlight Africans that are doing amazing things here in the US and in other parts of the world, not just in Africa. But unfortunately, until some things change, people will continue to focus on the negative. For example, a lot of young people that have gotten into scammy people, they've really given us a very, very bad image. Even if it's just one person, now a lot of people automatically assume that all Nigerians are scammers. So people need to stop scamming. Also, our leaders need to be responsible. Until they are, people will always use that to talk to us because they feel like African leaders can never get it right. But until our leaders change and make us a priority, because one of the reasons why people talk about us Africans anyhow and get away with it is because they know that nothing would happen. Right now, we don't have good leaders that would fight for you. You know, if something happens to an American outside of the US, America would fight for their citizens. But if something happens in Nigeria, they don't even care. Who born you? Like, they have not even taken care of those in Nigeria. Not to talk about, oh, a Nigerian is in trouble, if not for this day of social media that people now highlight issues. In the past, Nigerian government doesn't even, they don't care. It's like, who sent you? Come home. They will say, come back home. So until we have leaders that would fight for us, and when people know, like, people don't just mess with Americans because they know that their government will fight for them. So until we have leaders that will stand up for us, until Nigerians that are scammers stop scamming people, please, all my brothers and sisters that are scammers, God is watching you, just stop it. Until they stop, then people will have, the stereotype that people will have about us will be bad.
Thank you.
Wow, amazing, amazing. I have a dream. One of my favorite speeches of all time was given by Martin Luther King Jr. in August 1963. Now that speech was one that was calling for freedom and equality. Now, do you have a dream for Africa? What is the Africa of your dream?
I definitely have a dream for Africa. Africa right now is like a giant that has no idea that it's a giant and it's sleeping. What good is a sleeping giant? You know what I mean? like a giant is supposed to conquer, a giant is supposed to get things done that regular people cannot get done. But if all the giant does is sleep and eat a lot of food, you know, those leaders, they're eating a lot. If all the giant does is eat and sleep, it's of no good. It's like, what's the point of it being a giant? I have a dream for Africa that would rise up and take its rightful place in the world. The leaders we have right now, they are so pathetic that if you see how they follow leaders that are younger than them, but because they are heads of more powerful countries. In Yoruba, we say, as in, it's like they have no mind of their own. They want to look good to the outside world. They want the favor of the West. I've seen some Nigerian parents, I've seen 2 Nigerian parents, you know, mingle with presidents of the US. And most times I'm like, oh Lord, like this is bad, this is bad, this is pathetic, this is really bad. How did we get here? It's very unfortunate because Nigerians are very assertive and we know our rights, except our leaders. For lack of better words, they act in a really dumb way, and it makes you upset as a Nigerian. You're like, we deserve better than this. I have a dream for Africans to realize how blessed we are. In terms of natural resources, that's the continent with the most natural resources. Like I said, we are a people of 1.2 billion. Just imagine what we can do if we can unite, not necessarily like become one country, but if we realize we're all one and we want each other's, we want what is best for each other. Instead of right now, some Nigerians will go to South Africa and they're afraid because of xenophobia in South Africa. No black person should hate another black person. That's just like, what are you thinking? You're all the same. I have a dream for each African country to have good leaders that will put the interests of the common people to the front, like that would act in the best interest of the common people. Some people think that it's in us coming together to become one country, that is all of Africa. But at the same time, if you look at Nigeria, we have, you know, we're the most populated, 200 million people. We don't seem to know what we're doing. And at the same time, you will see some really small countries that are doing really well. They're smaller in terms of population, like Botswana is doing really well. A lot of African countries are doing way better than we're doing in Nigeria. And also there are some smaller countries that are struggling, like Togo. So I don't think it has to do with population. I don't mind Africans coming together, but I think we need to get it right individually first. So I have a dream for Africa that our leaders will just take care of the basic amenities. Give us good roads, running water, and stable electricity. Just those 3 things. I have a dream for an Africa where you always have electricity, good roads. And if you just have those 3 things, in Nigeria, for example, Nigerians are good. Just give them water, give them lights, give them good roads. The rest, they will figure it out. Nigerians, they always have a way. Because a lot of people, when they want to travel out, they don't mention countries like, oh, I'm going to Nigeria for vacation, I'm going to Malawi. They want to go to the US, they want to go to Canada, they want to go to Australia. I have a dream for Africa to become that continent that people will be struggling to buy the plane ticket. Oh, have you been to Nigeria? Make sure you check out the Yoruba land, make sure you check out the Igbo land, the Hausa land, you know what I mean? Oh, have you been to Zambia? Oh, have you been to Malawi? Like, I want people to want to come to Africa. And our leaders have to get it right for that to happen. Just give us good roads, stable electricity, and running water.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
That's my biggest dream. Running water, stable electricity, good road, those 3 things. That's my biggest dream for Africa.
Well, I hope your dream comes true.
I hope so too.
Unity is a word that many of us like and we want to hear. So my question is to you, that you believe that Africans, if the African states could unite together, maybe even form their own version of the United States of Africa, do you believe that such a dream is even plausible? And if so, what would be the problems associated with such a dream?
Does it even make sense? Or can we begin to conceive of such an idea?
Honestly, it makes sense. I see it happening, but I don't know about it happening right now. I think I touched on that a little bit from my last question. it's not that it cannot happen, but just look at the division in Nigeria alone. This idea, like I was saying, the racism that we practice in Africa is more real than what's going on here, because it's really dumb, because we're all black. Like, physically, there's no difference. I've talked about tribalism in some other countries. Like, when I talk about what's happening in Ethiopia sometimes, the Amharas, the Oromos, the problem is, when I look at them, I have no idea what the difference is. I don't know who is Oromo. They look the same to me. You know what I mean? The same thing, if I talk about Kenya, they said this person is from this district, whatever. I look at them, I don't see any difference. It's the same way a lot of people look at us Nigerians. We're the ones that are trying to tell them, oh, Igbos, sometimes they're light-skinned, they eat good soup. You know, they eat a lot of good soup. And we're trying to differentiate, oh, no, this person is Hausa, don't you see the features? A non-Nigerian will look at you and be like, what features are you talking about? You're black, you're Nigerians. I don't see the difference. So until we can realize we are all Africans first of all, before we became Nigerians or Ghanaians, those names did not even exist before colonization. Some of these names were given by the colonial masters. They were like, okay, Niger area, let's call it Nigeria. You know what I mean? Like, until we realize we're all Africans before we became whatever our country is now, that is the only time that we can unite. We can't start talking about Pan-Africa, we can't start talking about Africans coming together to form one country when we don't see each other as equal, when we're still discriminating amongst ourselves. In each country we're discriminating, not to talk about country to country. Like, a lot of South Africans, not a lot of South Africans, so no offense to all South Africans, but there are some South Africans that do not want to have anything to do with Nigerians. You know what I mean? So until we can get past that, Nigerians have names, not just in America, Nigerians have names in Africa as well. I heard about some guy who they thought he was from Nigeria, so he needed help. They didn't help him because they thought he was from Nigeria. How does that make sense? But he wasn't even from Nigeria. So there are a lot of Africans that don't like Nigerians, and there are a lot of Africans that like Nigerians as well. So, but until we can all become one in action, not just in words, as you're probably aware, I think the ECOWAS countries, they're working on having one currency. I don't know how that's going, but they were talking about having one currency, and then France came and decided to have a new currency for the French-speaking West African countries, which like destroyed the plans of the West Africans. They wanted to have their own currency, but now France has given a new currency, they call it the ECO, to their colonies in West Africa, and some of them embraced it. So now Nigeria is like, no, we are not, because the currency is being controlled by France, and and it's being pegged to the euro, so they said no. So Nigeria said no. So if we cannot unite, and that's another thing, the colonial masters are still interfering with what's happening. So if we cannot unite within ourselves, I don't see how we can have one United States of Africa. But if we're able to unite and that happens, just imagine how powerful we would be. 1.2 billion people. We will be so powerful economically, you know, manpower-wise, we will be really powerful. The US is like 300 million. Just imagine a country of 1.2 billion. That's what we would be if we can unite.
Thank you so much for answering that question. That was a really powerful answer.
Thank you.
Now we'll be having a short break, and we'll be having our Kahoot next. So get out your iPad, your laptops, your iPhones, whatever you need to do this Kahoot break, and then you have great prizes. Thank you. Stay tuned.
The word church creates diverse meanings and impressions to many, but to us, our church is a place where winners are made and released to fulfill their God-given purpose and destiny. The Redeemed Christian Church of God, the King's Palace, is a place where simple men and women are raised to become world changers. A place where visions are turned into missions. To us, church is a breathing ground for harvesters. Please come with me and experience the faith that keeps us together. Come find out why you need to join this chariot today.
Thank you so much for joining us. It's the Africa of My Dreams Talk Show 2020. And we are going to have two card games today. The first game is for TKP members. We already shared the instructions. You put in your name and your house. The second Kahoot game is going to come much later, and that's strictly for non-TKP members. So we just have like 30 seconds for you. We know most of you are trying to listen to ADEOLA's speech, so we have like 30 seconds to kickstart this game. And myself and Jide, we are ready to do this. So please hurry up. You have 30 seconds to do this. And remember, it's just that questions on Africa. And the first position, the first part is 500, second is 300, and of course the third is 200. And this will be generated, not me. So I guess we're good to go. We have a total of 23 players already. So Dire, I think let's kick it now. So you have your Kahoot code already, and we are starting off the game right now. So 3, 2, 1, go. Like I said, they're basically very simple questions. They're just 10 questions on Africa. We expect. So it's question number 3 already, question number 2 already, and I see Jeremiah Age for Blue House leading. It's still Jeremiah, and I see Larry, I see David Age coming right behind. So who goes top now? Wow, I see Anastasia, Red House. It's a 4th question. One interesting thing about these questions in Africa, it's the fact that if you do not know, then you don't know. There's no magic to it. And we have just 5 questions to go on this. Remember what's at stake? $500, 300, and 200. That's a lot of money, I'm sure you know. It's still Anastasia, Jeremiah, and Tommy. So who goes top now? It's Tolu now. Tolu, Tommy, Anastasia, Jeremiah. Question number 6. You know, I keep saying that Kahoot is an interesting game. You just never can tell who's going to win until the last question. It's Tolu, Jeremiah, and David Age now. And to imagine the pastor about to put these questions together, wow. They appear simple, I tell you, but it's one of the reasons why parents need to take their children back to Africa once in a while. So who goes top? It's still Tolu, Jeremiah. So let's see who goes top now. It's Anastasia coming again behind Tolu of Yellow House. And now question number 9. Just 2 more to go. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to have a winner for the first Kahoot game for TKP members. So who goes top here? Who goes there? It's still Tolu, Anastasia, Jeremiah. And the last question, gentlemen, question number 10. So what happened? It's question number 10. Question number 10, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So who goes top? We have the podium already. 3rd position goes to Jeremiah Age of Blue House. 2nd position goes to Anastasia. What happened there? What happened? And the 1st position goes to Tolu of Yellow House. So we have our winners. Jeremiah Age of Blue House is on 3rd. And of course, 2nd position goes to Anastasia of Red House and Tolu of Yellow House. A big congratulations to you guys. A big congratulations to you guys. The next Kahoot game is definitely going to be for non-TKP members. Thank you so much, guys. So I'm going to go back to the main church now for the Dream Talk Show. Thank you.
Welcome back, viewers. Welcome back to the King's Palace Anniversary Talk Show, Africa of My Dream. Okay, so yeah, Pastor Ronke, do you have a question for?
Yes, I do. Well, happy 4th of July to all our viewers. So today is Independence Day for America, as we all know. So what would you say is the single biggest challenge facing the American society of today? And then how does that impact Africa?
I think right now the biggest problem that I think, this is just me, that I think we're facing right now in America is leadership. I haven't been here for too long, just 17 years, but in the 17 years that I've been here, I've never seen Americans so divided as they are right now. I long for that kind of leadership that will bring people together. You can have different opinions, but there should be some core values that we all agree on, that all humans are equal, all humans should be treated equal, and we need the kind of leadership that would not in any form or shape suggest or encourage that it's okay to discriminate against people. So I think that's the biggest challenge that we have right now for people that are living in America. And you said, how is that affecting Africa? The unfortunate thing is a lot of people in Africa, no offense is intended at all, but a lot of people don't actually know what is happening in America, but they're really loud about America, but they don't know what is happening in America, but they believe they know, and they believe they know more than you that live in America when it comes to American politics or the situation in America. I say that because a lot of Nigerians right now, they are in love with the leadership in America, and I realize you can't just blame people, because I found that there are a lot of really influential men of God are preaching about the leadership in America, and it's not one. I've seen a very popular pastor saying that, oh, if Trump doesn't win the next election, then the world is doomed. Not just America, like the whole world is doomed. And I'm like, you know, and of course he said this was a revelation from God, which makes it even more complicated, because you're like, there's only one God. Which God did you talk to? You know, like, I talked to him this morning. He didn't say that, you know. Anyway, I'm just trying to say that it's really affecting Africa negatively, because I've seen a lot of Africans excusing things that should never be excused here in America, like things that in the past would have led to someone being arrested and being persecuted. Now they're excusing it as if it's okay. And I realize a lot of Africans are used to leaders that are like dictators, leaders that don't really care about the people. They're really used to that they think that is how to lead. Oh, you need somebody that is strong, that can, you know, that can go after protesters. Yes, send out the soldiers to go after protesters and stuff like that. That's Africa. It's not supposed to be, but that is how we grew up in Africa. You know, when we see a soldier in Africa, I don't know where you grew up, but soldiers are not our friends. Police are not our friends growing up, even though they say they are. If any policeman or if any Nigerian police is watching this, we love you guys. You guys are great. Excuse me. So when we were growing up, if a soldier is mad, you look for the nearest exit, because they can kill you and nothing would happen. Mm-hmm. And so I noticed the first thing, I remember the first thing I noticed when I came to the US, besides having stable electricity, good roads, is the fact that I could not see any roadblock. Like, we would travel and I'm like, but where is the roadblock? When are we getting to the roadblock? Like, not one. I have never seen a roadblock. I'd never seen soldiers out until recently with everything that happened in the US. I'm like, wait, what? People are the same anywhere and everywhere. So I think right now, the problem is leadership, because it's sad when you see Africans excusing things that are inexcusable. Right. And it's sad when you see Africans who believe that a news is fake news just because they are speaking out against the president. Right. And now they just write off CNN, they write off whatever Trump says is fake news. I'm not saying I'm against Trump, or you know what I mean. But it's like whatever Trump says now, I hear it even before he finished talking. I hear it from my Nigerian people, and it's like, really, they are more interested in what is happening here, and they believe they know just because they heard it from Fox News. No offense to Fox News, but they no longer read wide or be open-minded. They just go with whatever, because the people that they respect have told them that, oh, this is an anointed leader. So I think right now the biggest issue that we're facing in America is leadership that will bring people together and unite people.
Yes, I agree.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, ADEOLA. So, you know, you are a Christian, right? And you cover the church and the Christian community, both in Africa and in the diaspora. You cover them very widely. So, you know, what would be your suggestion to the church and the Christian community in terms of tackling this barrage of issues plaguing the Africans in diaspora, or maybe the world, in the circumstance that we are in? What would be your suggestion?
Yeah, so thank you. You started by saying you are a Christian. I was like, okay, yes, I'm a Christian. Where is this going? But yes, I am. And I'm really, really grateful to know Jesus. And of course, I wouldn't be who I am without him. So, but at the same time, I know why you said that, because a lot of people sometimes, because of what I talk about on my show, they're like, how can you talk about what is happening in the church? We're Christians, we should not put our dirty laundry out there. Unbelievers should not laugh at us and so on. But the truth is, if the church would just be what Christ intended for it to be, more than 90% of our problems in this world will be solved. And by that I mean, if the church would just be the hands and feet of Christ like we're supposed to be, like if we would be a replica of Christ in this world, if we be the salt that we're meant to be, if we be the light that people would automatically gravitate towards, then a lot of issues will be solved. You know, when I came here this morning, I noticed that they were distributing food outside. And that really warmed my heart. I was like, oh, this is what Christ would do. I mean, I know that there's COVID-19 and everybody is staying home. And I know that there is the anniversary here, we're celebrating. But to be honest with you, if Jesus were to be here, he would be more concerned about those people out there that needed food. Based on all the stories that we read about him in the Bible, he's not one to want the position of impotence or the seat of impotence. And I think a lot of churches have lost their vision or their mission, or why they even started the church in the first place. Now I see a lot of pastors who live basically like celebrities. I see pastors with bodyguards, with soldiers guiding them, with weapons, and they're like untouchable. And I go back, I read my Bible, I'm like, no, I don't see anything like that with Jesus when he was here. And now it's like a competition. We have the biggest auditorium. Oh, our pastor has a private jet. Yours has a private jet. Ours has 2 private jets. Oh no, ours has 4 private jets. Amen, somebody. So now it's like a competition, and again I go back, I read my Bible. I think the problem is a lot of Christians don't read their Bibles. I saw the video of one Nigerian guy arguing with a group of Muslims about whether or not David was a prophet. And the Muslims were telling him that the Bible called David a prophet. And he kept arguing and arguing and arguing with them, and it's like, show me where it says in the Bible this, that. And then at the end of the day, they showed him where it says in the Bible, where the Bible called David a prophet. And suddenly he became really small. And I feel like he's not reading the Bible. And I feel like that's the issue with a lot of Christians. We're very loud, but we are not actually devoted. Like, personally, we're not reading the Bible. So we don't know when the head of the church is starting to go off of what the manual says. So I feel like a lot of Christians now, they're more concerned with prosperity. They're more concerned with blessing. Like, if you listen to how people pray sometimes, I remember going to one country and they were leading prayers. It's an African country. They were leading prayers about this COVID-19. And at that time, it hadn't gotten this bad. It was just in China. And they were leading the prayer. The pastor said, right now we're going to pray. There's COVID-19, coronavirus in China. It has killed a lot of people. It has done this, it has done that. And I was at this church with a white friend of mine. And the pastor said, so we are going to pray that, Father, no weapon formed against us shall prosper. It will not get here. Pray, 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 pray. And my friend and I looked at each other as if, and we didn't even plan it. And when we left the place, sure enough, she was like, okay, that's strange. I was like, you thought they were going to pray for China? She said, yeah. I was like, me too. I thought we wanted to pray for China. They just talked about the problems in China. People are dying. And then they said, so now we're going to pray. It will not get to us. Oh yeah, pray, fire, this. And I said, what about those people there? Human beings as well. Can we start by praying for them? It has gotten to them. People are dying. Christians are dying. Christians were dying in China at the time. I'm like, we didn't even do that. Oh, we prayed so much for us that it doesn't get to us. We didn't pray. And I just feel like if the church would just take its rightful place and be like Jesus, we wouldn't have to. There are so many churches today where you have really active Christians. I don't want to say devoted. They're very active in church. Anything you need, this brother has gotten you. Oh, we call them Jim brothers. They're always there. but at the same time, when you look at their core values, on my show one time, I featured this Nigerian lady that wants to go into Big Brother Niger. I don't know if you're familiar with Big Brother Niger. I'm not, because I don't watch it. But I know what it is. You know, this is a show where you live with strangers. Sometimes they get naked, they do all kinds of stuff. And she was saying at the audition that she's a Christian, she's born again. You know, she goes to Redeemed Church, by the way. And she was auditioning for Big Brother Africa, and she was talking about how she's not a virgin anyway, so it's not a big deal, whatever. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm so confused right now. Why would a Christian want to be on Big Brother Africa? But she said it, that she's a worker in church, you know, so we have a lot of very active Christians. And if Christians would just go by what they read in the Bible, they would take care of the people in their neighborhood. A lot of Christians drive by beggars every day. They don't even look at their side, but they are very spiritual. A lot of Christians in Nigeria, they have house helps, and they treat them so badly, but they are very spiritual. You know what I mean? Like, if Christians would just be what they are supposed to be at their place of work, I know some Christians at their place of work, people avoid them because they're not nice at all. But they are Christians. They don't use earrings. They don't wear necklace. But they don't talk to you. You are not spiritual. You know what I mean? Like, they're not nice. As human, as a person, they are not nice. Nobody wants to be their friend. Why would I want what they have if this is how it's making them behave? So I feel like if Christians would just be the hands and feet of Christ, and if the church would be what it's supposed to be, like in those days when Christianity started in Africa, these missionaries at that time, we don't even know their names. Do you know the names of the people that brought Christianity to Nigeria? People don't know their names, but we see the schools that they built at that time. That's where some of our fathers went to school. We see the hospitals they built. Some of those hospitals are still there that they built at that time. They didn't build big auditorium, but they met people's immediate needs. When you meet people's immediate needs, they're willing to listen to you. So I feel like if the church would be what it's supposed to be, half of our problems will be solved.
Wow, thank you very much. Wow, excellent. So Christians should read the manual, which is the Bible.
Yeah.
They should not only preach, they should act, they should be the hands and feet of Christ, and be their neighbor's
keeper.
Thank you very much for that insight. One of our viewers has a question there. I think I'll just paraphrase this. A lot of people come here, they school here, they live here, and they see all these good things and infrastructure and how to make the society work. But when they get back home, it's difficult for them to put that into practice. Can you just briefly touch on that phenomenon?
What do you mean? Are you talking about politicians or just regular people?
Just regular people, I guess.
They find it hard to put that into practice?
Yeah, so you see things work, right? You know how it works, but when you get back home, it's just difficult for you to try to replicate that.
I mean, it is difficult for an individual to try to replicate the system here if we don't have some things in place, when you basically have to fend for yourself in terms of everything, literally everything in Nigeria. You have to provide your own electricity, you have to provide your own security. If you build a house and there's no fence around it, people will just look at you like, what are you doing? Like, you need to have a fence, and then you need to hire a gatesman, you need to hire security. But even all that is never enough. And of course, the government is not building roads, so it's really hard for people to replicate what is here when there's no good system in place that would encourage it. But at the same time, I've seen a lot of people that would go home and start something, or they want to go home and help. But it's hard for some of them when the people around them don't understand where they are coming from. The mindset back home is different. I have a friend who went home to volunteer at a hospital in Nigeria. She's a medical doctor. And she was really excited. She just wanted to give back. You know, she just wanted to help. No salaries. She wanted to help at this hospital. So when she got to the hospital, they didn't have basic things. She was the one buying all those things from her pocket. Unfortunately, she realized that the staff that she was working with, they were stealing the gloves. The staff were the ones stealing the things that she bought. Girlfriend came back after some time. She was like, I tried. God knows I tried. How can doctors be stealing gloves? And they were going to sell it. She's like, no, when people are not ready for help, you can't really help them. But at the same time, I know a lot of Nigerians that will be well behaved here. They will follow the rules and everything. They always get in line. But the moment they get to Nigeria, in fact, from the airports, whenever I'm going to Nigeria, before I get to the Nigerian gate, I can tell which one is the Nigerian gate. Whenever it's time to board the plane, a lot of Nigerians, they just completely forget that they're well behaved when they're in the US. But once they're on their way, even from the airport on their way to Nigeria, they just, everything, they throw it all out of the window. No more decorum. People are fighting to get in line. I'm like, yep, that's my gate. That is the Nigerian gate. And the moment they get to Lagos, when you're in Nigeria and you're trying to follow the rules and you're trying to stay in line, people look at you like you're a fool because you're trying to wait for your turn. I remember going to one airport in Nigeria and someone was in front of me, so I was waiting for them to finish before I put my bag. And do you know that the person behind me came around and put his bag, and he gave me the dirty look like, why are you are so egbe? You know what I mean? Like, why are you standing there waiting for them to finish? Which is the right thing to do, like just let them finish and then but he put his, while that person's bag was still there, he put his, and it's already ingrained in people once they're in Nigeria. But the same guy, if he comes to the US and he sees how things are done in the US, he will straighten up, he will be well behaved. But the moment they get back home, the same set of people, they just switch. You will see, if you see how some people drive when they land in Nigeria, you will be like, is it the same person that is always afraid of ticket here? They don't want to get any ticket here. But once you get to Nigeria, if you don't know how to drive in Lagos especially, you're on your own. The last time I drove in Lagos, this was a long time ago. I hadn't gone home for 5 years, and then I went home, and then we went to Lagos. I'm not from Lagos, so we were driving, and I was driving, and I quickly realized that if I don't go, they will just grab me to say Gweko. I tried to be, to be decent, but it wasn't working for Lagos traffic. And so I wisened up too. I rolled down my window. I said, Alaji, Alaji was greeting me, trying to figure out where he knew me. Before he could figure that out, I was gone. I just bewo. So now I cannot do that here. But I've been sitting there for so long, and I realized, okay, if you don't do this, that's the problem. When the system is not encouraging people to, because I would just be there all day, and they will all abuse me as they pass by, like, you are seriously waiting for your turn? Like, who does that? That is Nigerian system for you.
Wow. Thank you for bringing such insights to this talk show. And thank you for sharing the Africa of your dream.
Thank you.
With us here at the King's Palace, with our viewers all over the world. Thank you very much. It's been nice having you around. Well, viewers, we've come to the end of our talk show today. We thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for being part of the King's Palace anniversary. God bless you. Hope to see you again, not too distant future. God bless you and take care. And I'd like to wish all of us happy Independence Day here in the US, and happy anniversary once again to my friends and brother of the King's Palace. God bless you. Happy anniversary.
Mission is not just the heart cry of the Father, it's indeed His heartbeat. Every hour, every minute, and every second, the eyes of the Lord run to and from the earth, looking for willing vessels who will refuse to hang their sickle, but will determine to ride fast into the harvest field with all the willingness and joy to bring in a great harvest of souls.
This is the same passion that drives the commitment of our church, the Redeemed Christian Church of God, the King's Palace, for mission. Mission is at the center of all we do. It is a deliberate focus for all ages, and it is systematically inscribed into all the diverse outreach arm of the church. Since the inception of our parish, the Redeemed Christian Church of God, the King's Palace, here in Katy, Texas, we have deliberately embarked on strategic mission, covering both foreign mission and at home.
In the last years, our foreign missions have been to Kachia, Nigeria in 2010, Zambia in 2012, Markudi, Nigeria in 2013, Maypen, Jamaica in 2014, Farmington, New Mexico in 2015, Zaria, Nigeria in 2015, Gabon in 2016 and 2017, St. Lucia in the Caribbean.
Jesus said in John chapter 9 verse 4 that I must work the work of him that sent me while it is day. The night comes when no man can work. What are you still waiting for? Get up, move. Let's do the work of the Master together.
If you have experienced the gospel, there's no way that you can look at a world that is headed to hell and not care, not move, and not offer your life and say, God, here am I, send me.
Arise and become part of this great army. Gird your loins and join us to fulfill the heart cry of the Father together. Jesus is Lord.
Well, welcome back, everyone. We are not done yet. I know some people were wondering, what of our Kahoot? Well, it's about to take place right now. For all our special non-TKP family, we're so grateful to have you from all over the world. So get ready, get set. We have wonderful prizes for you. The Kahoot is about to begin. And we want to say thank you again for being a part of this broadcast. So get ready for Kahoot. Don't change that channel.
Thank you so much, Minister Ronke. We're back for the last Kahoot now. This Kahoot is for people who are not members of the TKP. And the amazing part of this is the fact that 60% of those who will be playing this game are actually from Nigeria. That's the interesting part of it. Now, to be able to play this for Nigeria, that means you must be really, that's a lot of sacrifice, because this is about past 2 in Nigeria. So, but we're ready for this. We have about 17 players to roll this. So, Diri, I guess we get to go with this. So we're going to give like 30 seconds to quickly log in. I can see 1, 2, 3 people still trying to come into the game. And we'll be ready to go. Okay, we're good to go. So please make sure if you win, don't be in a hurry to leave the Zoom, because we're going to need your details, please. It's very important. All right, do it. Let's hit it. And it's interesting to know that these questions were put together by people about the questions that was Imosu is up now. $300, and of course, so, and I know you, I guess. Basically, the questions are even not. Question number 3. Again, Kahoot is a very funny game. Until the very last question, you can't even tell who's going to win. Until the very last question. And it's so amazing that if you don't know the right answer, then you don't. Okay, who's up now? We see it's still Mosun Sheung Busayo. Like I said, please, because of the fact that you're It's question number 5. Okay, so let's see if we have someone else go top now. Who goes top? Who goes now? And who goes there? It's still Mosul Shell, Busayo, Joy, and
Okay. And then I would say, do we have any questions from the audience? Okay. And after she asks, finishes.
Now we have Joy. I told you Kahoot can be really funny, where we have Joy leading now. Joy is on top.
At the end.
So it's Joy, still Joy. Question number 8, just 3 more questions to go. Please don't be in a hurry to leave the Zoom after the Kahoot game so we can get your details, please. So let's see who goes top now. It's still Joy. That question was probably not answered by anyone. 2 more questions to go. We must give Pastor Badri a thumbs up for these questions. Even D-Ray is sweating here, I must tell you. Okay, it's still Joy, Busayo, Annie, Mosun, and Sheung. And it's the last question now. It's the last, very last question. Question number 10, 18, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So who goes top? Oh, the first position here goes Sayo, and the third one goes to Annie. A big congratulations. A very, very big congratulations to you guys. Big, big, big congratulations to you guys. Run up, we have Sheung and Musu on 4th and 5th position. A big congratulations to Busayo and Annie. I'm going to hand you guys over back to Pastor Ronke. Thank you guys.
Well, welcome back, viewers, and congratulations to our winners. And thank you so much for always tuning in and watching TKP from all over the world. Congratulations again. Well, we have a question from our live audience now, and we would like to take that question at this time. Praise the Lord. Well, we're waiting on that question. And in case you have any other question, please, you can still type your questions on our YouTube channel. And our guest here will be very happy to answer the question.
Sure.
So far, it's not something that is controversial, am I right? So we're waiting on those questions online as well. So we'll take one from the audience right now.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Dr. Loveto Rajeto. My question is this. We always speak that we don't have a good system working in Nigeria in the sense that things doesn't go the way it ought to be, or the way they don't do things the way it ought to be done in Nigeria. Then coming over here, we still have the system here coming from Nigeria. For instance, we have the embassies. We have a lot of things that they set in place for those of us that are here. You still find out that even those working there, they've lived here, they've been exposed, they've seen how the American system works, yet it's still the same old story. For example, I wanted to open an account in Nigeria, and they told me that I needed to get the BVN. And there's a place here in Houston, Texas, that you can go do the BVN. For the past 2 weeks, I've been calling them. I've gone there several times. Nobody is there. And they said, we work Monday through Friday from this so-so time to so-so time. Yet, there's nobody there. In that case, how do we overcome this? Is it because we're Nigerians, we don't take things serious, or where have we gone wrong, and how are we going to overcome such attitudes, about doing things right?
So I think when it comes to the Nigerian government and government parastatals, when it comes to the system in Nigeria, they replicate the same thing, even when they're outside of Nigeria. They just changed locations. They didn't change their orientation. And I'm saying that because whenever I enter a Nigerian office, I always feel like I'm back to Nigeria, just entering some Nigerian embassies. No offense to Nigerian embassy, but it is what it is. Whenever I go to some Nigerian embassies, I automatically feel like I've been transported back to Nigeria. I just didn't get on the plane, but I am in Nigeria as soon as I get in there. And I think the only thing that has worked for Nigerian offices here is when people shame them, that's the only time that they realize, oh, I guess it's not business as usual. The Nigerian embassy in New York looks a whole lot better than what it used to be. I remember going in there and taking pictures and showing the TV from maybe 1955, I don't know. It's just that people no longer use that kind of television. And just saying that that is what they have at the Nigerian embassy at that time, that was what they had. And seeing how dirty the toilets were, and they just had like folders everywhere, and there was no AC, people were really, really hot, And I remember doing those stories, and when they see that people see how they're operating, they feel shamed, so they want to change, because they want to look good to the outside world. So far and right now, I feel like that's the one thing that makes them sit straight. You're talking about the BVN office not working. It's not just the one here in Houston. Excuse me, I've heard about so many BVN offices that people would go and they would meet anybody there. But people just need to keep talking about it. The more you talk about it, the more you put it on social media, the more it circulates, the news gets to them. Like, I feel like it's sad, but it's the reality. Nigerian officials, they don't like to do the right thing until they are ashamed, and then they do the right thing, not because they really want to do the right thing, but because they don't want to be shamed. You know what I mean? Like, they said they are sorry, but are you sorry that you're caught, or you're sorry for what you actually did? There's a difference. I feel like if they are not caught, they may not be sorry at all. They're not really sorry for what they're doing. So I think in that kind of situation, the location is the only thing that changed. The orientation did not change. The mentality did not change. The mindset did not change. That's how they were treating people in Nigeria. That's how they were operating in Nigeria, and people didn't see anything wrong. If you want to get some things done in Nigeria, sometimes you go to a ministry and they just complicate your life. Something that they could do within half hour, they may say come back in 2 months. Or they may say, Oga is not around, and Oga is around. You keep going back and forth, back and forth. Whenever I go to Nigeria, people say, oh, you can't get too many things done in one day. You can only face one thing in Lagos, because by the time you spend 2 hours in traffic, before you get to where you are going, you can't even get it done. So until the orientation changes back home, I don't expect a miracle just because they change location. Now they're in the US. It's still Nigerian office. You know what I mean? And until they can have leaders who have a different mindset that, you know what, we have to be excellent in everything that we do. That mindset of excellence, if it's missing, it's just the location that changed. So you can't expect that, oh, now they're in the US, they should act right. If the mindset is the same, they would give you the same service.
Okay, thank you very much. And that takes us to another thing. We talked about the government. How about private sectors, like the lawyers, the doctors? You find out when you go to any of them and they realize, oh, you are a Nigerian, the way they will treat you is quite different from the way they will treat the Americans. Why is this so?
So I'm not sure what you mean by the way they will treat you. Are you saying they treat you better, or are you saying they...
No, they would. It's like, you know, if you happen to dislike any of the things and complain, it's like, wow. You know, the attitude they will give to you is like you don't have right to say anything. And sometimes you go there and you give them money to, you know, to do what they said they are doing. You find out they eat your money and there's nothing you can do about it. When you come, they talk trash at you. But if it's a foreigner like Americans, you find out it's a different ballgame. Mm-hmm. These are not governments.
I think it goes both ways. Sometimes when I meet an African at a workplace, sometimes they are like really, really nice because they're like, oh, my African brother or my Nigerian sister or whatever. But at the same time, I know what you're talking about. Like the professionalism is thrown out of the window because they met another Nigerian, and over familiarity sometimes breeds complacency, and they don't expect you to complain. There's a very popular African celebrity that everybody knows about, and she went to a Nigerian restaurant one time in New York, and, you know, instead of them to see that as an opportunity to put up their best front, because this person is really, really influential. This is a celebrity, a world celebrity, she's not Nigerian. And instead, it was business as usual for them. The food took forever to get ready. She was really eager to eat Nigerian food, you know. The fish was not well cooked. Like, it was really obvious that the fish was not done. In short, she didn't have a good experience at all, But guess what? Words go around. People talk about it. She never gave them any shout out on social media, and I think they charged her as well, which is really, really dumb, because that kind of person, the adverts that they will give you is more than whatever money you can charge them. You're supposed to please them to the point where they're like, you know what, I'm tweeting about this, I'm putting this on Instagram, whatever. So they messed up. They missed that opportunity because, oh, she's just African. But she's not just African. She's an African with huge influence. And I understand what you mean, that sometimes when it's a white person, oh, we sit up straight. We want to be excellent, you know. So I feel like, you know, I mentioned when I was talking earlier that our leaders come from amongst us. All these people that are leaders today, there was one time they were regular Nigerians. It's our leaders. It's from amongst us that our leaders will come from. That's why I said it's very important to teach leadership, to breed leaders, to teach people how to be servant leaders and how to be excellent and how to make an impact, make a difference. Because when people are not taught these things and they find themselves in position of power, position of authority, you can't give what you don't have. You can't give excellence when you don't practice excellence. So the problem didn't just start from how they treated you, whoever that was. The problem started with them not being a person of excellence. They can't give you what they don't have.
Okay, I think, thank you, ADEOLA, for taking the question from our audience. So, viewers, thank you for your attention once again. Happy Independence Anniversary. Happy King's Palace 14th anniversary, and I think it's appropriate that we bring everything to a close now by just rising to the American national anthem, and you know, that would be one way that we all want to celebrate the close of this talk show. Can you join me in the studio as we rise to the national anthem?
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the fire o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the
The word church creates diverse meanings and impressions to many, but to us, our church is a place where winners are made and released to fulfill their God's-given purpose and destiny. The Redeemed Christian Church of God, the King's Palace, is a place where simple men and women are raised to become world changers. A place where visions are turned into missions. To us, church is a breathing ground for harvesters. Please come with me and experience the faith that keeps us together. Come find out why you need to join this chariot today.